It can be so difficult for us to be in the mortgage industry and have all these laws regulate us, and sometimes have one regulate us one way and another one regulate us another way. And it's really confusing, and it's tough to keep up with. Now, when RESPA passed, and this is a RESPA reform that brought us the good faith estimate that we really didn't like, and when that law passed, we looked at the definition of application and found out that application is 6 things, right? And so we just memorized application is 6 things, application is 6 things. It was like name and loan amount and property value estimate and all those good things, right? You know those, we've covered them, we can cover them again if you want, but there's 6 things, right? What we forgot is that's only RESPA and the Truth in Lending Act. In the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, there is no requirement that you have 6 things to be termed an application. It's funny to me, and not funny, haha, funny, strange, that in 1974, the same congressional body passed ECOA and RESPA, and unfortunately gave them different definitions of application. What a huge pain for us to deal with. And so when you're looking at whether or not an application was taken, get out of your brain that it's when you've collected the 6 things. It really is under ECOA. An application is when, and this is where it gets a little weird, so pay attention. It's what your company says it is in policies and procedures. That's kind of a summary of what they say. That's tricky, because like then what do you guys do? You know, at your company, how do you term something an application? If I call you today and want to go shopping for a house, and I ask you a couple questions, I mean, you're pretty much in pre-qualificationville, right? You're not really taking an application. Well, the FDIC and a couple others actually found this was going to be a bit of an issue if we didn't have a proper definition. So they gave us some guidance. So the FDIC came out with actually really clear guidance where they said, look, a pre-qualification is when you're having general conversations with a consumer about what you can and can't do. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac require this, FHA requires that. It's that basic conversation, right? They say that an application under ECOA, they say an application is when you've taken general guidelines, you've taken specific scenario from the consumer and applied those guidelines to their scenario and given them feedback. So by that I mean, we meet in a grocery store, you and I are having a conversation, you know me, I'm one of your past clients, you've got my information back at the office, I say, hey, I really want to get a loan, and you say, really, tell me about your scenario. And I go, oh man, it's been a really tough year. I quit my job. We lost 3 houses to foreclosure. What I'm going to do for income now is I'm going to play the drums on the street. I've seen people make a lot of money. I mean, just a lot of money, so I'm excited about that. And so I just dump all this information on you, and the ECOA kicks in with what you say next. This gets really tricky, and I get people mad at me when I say this, but it's true. What you say next could encourage or discourage the application. Now, if you encourage me to apply, we're cool, right? We're just kind of leaning towards, hey, come on down, right? So you should say, wow, let's come into the office and take an application. But if you say, oh my gosh, Ken, that's crazy. There's nothing I can do for you. You just denied me. If you say, yeah, you know what, come back in 12 months. That's not looking very good. You took my personal information and turned around and gave me a denial, a discouragement. Problem is, with fair lending, we want to catch it when it happens, right? If you're treating somebody unfairly based on something you don't like about them, how are we going to find out unless you take their information and put it into the system, right? So we want that information. We need to send that person a denial. We can talk about denials on another video, but something has to happen because you just told them that you don't want their business, that they should not bother applying. So my advice, encourage every application, and you will be at least on your way to be compliant with the ECOA when it comes to talking to borrowers, getting information from them, and turning back to them and firing out, you know, a response. I've reviewed your information based on what you said. It's not going to look very good. So do not discourage applications. Encourage everybody to apply. And I know that doesn't seem like it's real world, but really that's the only way we're going to figure out whether somebody's being discriminated against or not.